Hello everyone, welcome back to Get Cooking with Rev. I'm Rev. Today we're going to be making another simple and easy lunch item, I guess. So I've gotten to the point where I'm close to the end of my handful of recipes that I normally make. Digging through other recipes, trying to remember other things I can make for upcoming episodes. Right now I got about 7 more recipes or so that I could possibly make. It's just a matter of getting the ingredients together and whatnot. But in the meantime, everything that I've bought over the last couple weeks to make episodes on, I've exhausted. And I was kind of looking through the house like, wow, other than, leftovers, there's really not much else here. So I was like, what can I do for my next episode? And then it occurred to me I have a whole carton of eggs in the fridge yet, so I'm going to make some egg salad. For those of you who don't know what egg salad is, it's a sandwich spread. You can eat it just out of the bowl, like one of my mom's roommates used to do. He didn't know what it was. He just started eating it out of the bowl, and my mom was like, what are you doing? You're supposed to put it on sandwiches, or make sandwiches out of it. So you can eat it out of the bowl if you like it, but I put it on bread and make a sandwich out of it just because it goes further. So that's what we're going to be making today. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ingredients we're going to need. Alright, first ingredient we're going to need is eggs. I'm going to use roughly 6 to 8 eggs. Probably going to go with about 6 because I'm going to make a small batch and I only got about 12 eggs left out of this 18 pack. I don't know if it's not a dozen, it's a dozen and a half, I guess. So I've got like 12 left. I don't want to use them all up because I'll probably need some for breakfast stuff tomorrow. So I'm going to use about 6 of those. Later on, you'll need bread. Because like I said, this spread does become a sandwich spread, so you'll need bread for that. You're going to need mayonnaise or Miracle Whip. I prefer actual mayonnaise just because Miracle Whip tends to break down depending on the consistency of it. So one time I made this, I put it in the fridge. The next day it was like complete liquid because the Miracle Whip had broken down for some reason. So I usually try and use mayonnaise. I don't have any mayonnaise right now. I got Miracle Whip, so we're going to use that. Going to need some mustard, yellow mustard. Any type will do. And then normally if I had another onion, I'd chop up a little bit of onion to put in with it as well, but since I don't, I'm just going to add some seasonings. I'm going to use our good old friend garlic powder, our good old friend onion powder, give it a little bit of that oniony flavor, and because it is an egg-based dish, I'm going to add just a little bit of paprika, not too much, it's just for flavor. If you don't like paprika, don't use it. But I'm going to add a little bit to mine. Alright, so now let's move over to the stove and see what tools we're going to need. Okay, as far as what tools we're going to need for cooking anything, we're just going to need a normal saucepan. Again, I don't know why my mother has all these deep weld pans. I asked her where a normal saucepan was the other day. She said apparently she got rid of all her old stuff when she got her new Rachael Ray stuff. I don't know why, but yeah, it is what it is. So I'm going to be using this one. Hopefully it doesn't screw things up too much. What is this? My mother left this on the stove this morning. I have no idea what it is. Some type of noodles? Let's try a little bit, see what it is. It's just overcooked angel hair pasta with like some garlic on it. Maybe she was trying to recreate my garlic parmesan noodles from the other day. Yeah, those noodles are way overcooked. So let's get that out of the way. Alright. You know the sad thing? Just a quick story here before we get started. My mother actually used to be a really good cook. She tries to make things that I make and she always tends to screw them up somehow. And I always kind of give her crap about it. And she's like, well, who taught you how to cook? Not necessarily her. I mean, for a long time she wouldn't let me even touch the stove. I had to learn how to make grilled cheese in the microwave. But yeah, she used to actually cook decently. I wouldn't necessarily say she taught me how to cook, but she taught me how to identify flavors and things like that. But lately, I don't know if it's just because she's gotten older, but she's lost her patience for doing anything. Especially cooking. She wants everything done like right now. She doesn't want to wait. She rushes through recipes or has her burners up too high. And things just don't come out to where they taste even remotely decent anymore. She used to be able to go through the cupboard and grab whatever was in there and make a meal out of it. Now she just throws together stuff without really thinking, and then it's just like, okay, that's either really plain or these don't go together. Apparently that was supposed to be dinner tonight, but I'm gonna make egg salad instead. So I'm gonna have sandwiches for dinner. How about that? So we're gonna put some water on to boil, and you're gonna want this pan about, well, since it's extra deep, I'm gonna say about half full. Depending on the saucepan you use, you basically want enough to be about an inch or so above the eggs once you put them in, but you want the water to boil before you put the eggs in. So we're going to get some water on to boil, and then I'll be back to add the eggs. Okay, so we got our water added just a little above halfway. Got our temperature on high because we're just trying to boil the water, so we don't need to worry about low heat. So once this comes up to boil, we will be back to add in the eggs. Okay, so our water has come to a boil. So now what we're going to do is turn our heat down to about we'll go to about 6. That should be good. Now we're going to add in our eggs. Now, as I said, I'm only going to use about 6. So what you want to do is find kind of a slotted spoon. I'm going to see if I can do this one-handed without dropping any eggs. Probably not. And basically what you want to do is take one of your eggs, put it on the slotted spoon, then very gently place it into the water and let it roll off the end of the spoon. Careful not to crack them. A lot of people just take them and drop them in and they crack against the bottom. Other people try and set them down in with their hands and end up burning their fingers in the water. But as you can see, you just want to roll them in. And we're going, like I said, we're going to do about 6. They may still crack rolling them in this way. If they do, don't panic. It's fine. You don't have to fish it out and put another one in. Just run with it. Just try your best. Like as you're going down, if the other eggs are in the way, just kind of push them out of the way with the spoon. So that's 4. Got 2 more to go here. And see, I'm just kind of pushing these ones out of the way with the spoon until I can lay that one down gently. And last one. And right down. See, that one rolled off a little bit early, so it could potentially crack, but that's fine. So we have our 6 eggs. I don't think I could even fit more in there if I wanted. And now we're just going to let these simmer for roughly 30 to 45 minutes. Sometimes I give them a full hour. Basically, you want the eggs to kind of float up to the surface. That usually means they're done. Or for the water to evaporate enough to where the top of the egg is just showing above the water. So I'm going to let these boil for a while. I'll be back to show you what it looks like when they're ready to come out, and then we'll go on to the next stage. Alright guys, so it's been about 5 or 6 minutes. As you can see, the water is back to a boil. One thing you do want to do occasionally, not too often, is just give these a gentle roll around. Try not to lift them, Try not to lift them up out of the pan because you don't want them to fall back down and break. But you just want to give them a gentle roll just so they don't get any hot spots. If they stay on one spot too long, they might overcook that one spot. And then when you peel these later, you're going to have a slight burn on one side of your egg. So just to avoid that, just give them a gentle little rotation. They'll roll in the pan. You can kind of feel them rolling with the edge of your spoon as you push them around. Don't have to do it too often, just like every 10 minutes or so, and they should be fine. So we're going to let these continue to boil until they're done, and then we will be back once again. Alright guys, so it's been about 25 minutes or so, and as you can see, the water's reduced enough to where the tops of the eggs are showing above the surface, like I said. I'm going to just give them another little roll just to make sure they're cooked evenly on all sides. Just kind of want to rotate them all to where those tops are now down, however you can. Alright, and I'm going to let this boil for about another 5 to 10 minutes just to make sure they're good and done. But once they're floating like that, they're pretty much ready to go. So I'm going to give these another about 5 minutes, then I will show you what the next step is. Okay, so it's been another 5 minutes. As you can see, all the eggs are floating now. There's not much water left in there. They're about halfway down the egg, which is good. So we want to turn off our heat. Now what we're going to do is come over here to our sink, actually. And the first thing I want to do is remove this plastic liner because the pan going in here may actually melt it. And what you want to do is just bring your whole pan right over here into the sink underneath the faucet, and you're going to turn on the cold water and just let the cold water run into the pan for a while, let it overflow over the edge in a second, and you're just going to let that run because you want these eggs to be cooled in temperature rather quickly. That helps them solidify. So now, as you can see, I can kind of stick my hand in here, brush out the hot water. As you can see, the eggs, I'm not even touching the eggs, but they're starting to float up a little bit. And that's what you want. Just give them a small turn so all sides cool. It feels like one of them might have already cracked. That's okay. And you're just going to let these soak in the running cold water for about 5 minutes or so. Bring them down to temperature, and then we'll move on to the next stage. Alright, so our eggs have been running under the water for about 2-3 minutes. They are cool to the touch. As you can see, I can hold them in my hand. There's no heat left to them. So now, what we want to do is remove our pan from the sink. Drain a little bit of the water off them. Not too much. You want about half of what water is left in there. Okay, so now that our eggs are cool, the pan's cool, we don't need to worry about setting it on the counter. So you're going to take your egg in your hand, and you're going to lightly tap it on the counter. Like so. Now as you can see, it's got a little divot in it. Set it down on that divot, then just press and roll under the palm of your hand. So now as you can see, that's pretty much cracked all the way around. So then if you start to peel a little bit like so, then once you start to pull it a little bit, the rest of the shell should slide right off within 1 to 2 pieces, just like that. Sorry, I keep moving off the camera. So let me show you that again. The one that you just did, just drop back in the water to give it a little rinse to get any little bits of shell off of it. So again, egg in the palm of our hand, little tap until we get a divot, gently roll under the palm of your hand, and then as you can see, it's split down the center there, so that should come off into simple parts. Back in the water, give it a rinse. Number 3, once you get going at it, it should be fairly simple. Back in the water. Number 4. Then this one didn't crack right away, so you just give it a little bit of a peel like so. And then you just kind of pinch and pull. You just kind of like grab it and kind of pinch it as you're pulling it, and it should slip right off the end. I think we got 2 more of these. That one split right in half. Comes right off in 2 parts. My dad used to yell at me for doing it this way as soon as I would crack it on the counter like so, and then I'd start to roll it. He's like, "Don't roll it, you're going to screw it up." And I was like, "Really?" Because, you know, it comes right off when you roll it, just like that. There. So that is all 6 of our eggs peeled back in the water just to rinse off any little bits of shell that might be on them. Now, I'm going to clean up these eggshells, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so next thing we want to do is take our eggs, shake the water off of them over the pot, and you want to slice them in half this way. Be careful not to cut your fingers. Then rotate it a quarter of a turn and cut it again. So you basically just quartered it. Then very carefully, I'm going to cut it in half this way, like so. Then you just drop all your little parts into the bowl. I may actually need a bigger bowl than what I have, but I will update that in a minute if I do. Careful not to cut yourself. As soon as you feel it start to hit your finger here, it's not all the way through the egg, you gently pull it through. And if this other side turns out a little bit, don't panic, just fold it back in, cut it down the center. And we're going to do this with all 6 of our eggs, and I might need a bigger bowl, so you will see in a second if I do. Okay, so I did go up to a slightly larger bowl. This is one of my storage bowls, just so I got a little bit of extra room, and this will probably be what I end up storing it in when I put it back in the refrigerator. Now, next step, you're going to need a tablespoon. And what you want to do is take approximately 2 tablespoons of your Miracle Whip or mayonnaise. Just 1, 2. I'm actually going to do about 2.5. That should be good to start with. Actually, make that 3. So we got roughly 3 tablespoons there. And now take our yellow mustard, and you're just going to add a little spiral around the top of it like so, roughly a tablespoon. Now you're going to need a fork, and you're just going to kind of mash this all together with the fork. Just press down on the eggs, they'll mash, and it'll mix in with the mayonnaise and the mustard. If you like yours a little bit lumpier as opposed to smooth, don't mash them all up too quick. Give it a small stir just to incorporate all the mayonnaise and mustard, and then mash it up a little bit more. If you need a little bit more mayonnaise or mustard, add them very sparingly because you cannot take back out, but you can add. As you can see, the 3 tablespoons and a little bit of mustard was just about right. Again, give it a little bit of a stir just to incorporate everything. And you basically just want to chop up all the larger chunks. So there's a nice big white piece right there. You're just going to press your fork through it, and it mashes it up. And you just want to do that until all your eggs are good and mashed and incorporated. Okay, there was another piece that got good and chopped. And again, give it a little bit of a stir. Like so. Bring all your big pieces back up to the top. And just mash them all back down. Just like that. Another little stir. Alright. That looks pretty well incorporated. Now we're going to give it a little bit of a taste. That's actually a pretty good balance. Not too heavy on the mustard, not too heavy on the mayo. Now, I'm going to add in our seasonings. A little bit of garlic. Not too much, you don't want to overdo it. A little bit of onion powder. Again, not too much, you don't want to overdo it. What I forgot to mention earlier, a little bit of fresh salt. About that much. And if we can, a little bit of our fresh pepper. About that much. Now we're going to stir all this in. Get it nice and incorporated. Again, don't be afraid to scrape the additional dressing off the sides of the bowl. Give it a nice stir. Let's give it another little taste. I'm going to add a tiny bit more mustard, but not a whole lot. Just kind of a quick spiral around, like so. I like the mustardy flavor. If you guys don't, it probably would have been fine where it was. But I'm just going to add a little bit more in. Well, that's pretty good. Now I'm going to add in a little dash of the paprika, just for some flavor. And you can't even tell it's in there. Some people don't like paprika and complain about it. Nope, there it is. Alright. That's pretty damn good. Normally at this point I would add a small bit of lemon juice just to keep the mayonnaise from, or the Miracle Whip from emulsifying and liquidating. Since I don't have that, I'm going to add just a small pinch of relish
I know I didn't mention this earlier, but since this does have a little bit of vinegar in it, it will actually help with that issue. Now you don't have to do this step if you got like lemon juice or something in the fridge, just use that. For those of you who don't like pickles, don't worry about it. But as you can see, once it's stirred up, you don't even really notice it's there. I'm going to add just a little bit more mustard, not too much. Like I said, you can always add more, you can't take out. So, just a little spiral. You don't want to overdo it on the dressings, the mayonnaise and mustard, because you don't want it to be too liquidy. So if I add too much more, it's going to be too much. And then I would need more eggs to balance it out. But I think I'm good right here. Alright, let's give it another little taste. Alright, that's perfect. That's about right where I want it. Now, we're going to find a lid for this. We're going to put it in the fridge for about 2.5 hours, maybe 3. Just enough to get it cold, because it's better cold. You can eat it now, but it definitely tastes a lot better cold. So we're going to find a lid, put it in the fridge, and I'll see you guys back here in about 2 hours.
Alright kids, so it's been several hours since I put the egg salad in the fridge. I was planning to give it like 2.5 hours to chill, and I was watching a movie and ended up falling asleep, so it is actually the next day now, so our egg salad has refrigerated overnight. So let's go ahead and make an egg salad sandwich. So we're going to get our couple pieces of bread here. And a spoon, and here is our egg salad. You notice it is a little runny. That's why I said to add in the lemon juice if you have it, because Miracle Whip breaks down real easy like that. Normally this should be real stiff and not so runny. Regular mayonnaise won't do this. Miracle Whip, for some reason, I don't know what they changed in Miracle Whip's formula, but it just breaks down real easy now. But it's still good enough to make an egg salad sandwich. Like I said, there is a crack in this dish and it's not running out, so it's not horrible. So you just want to get a spoonful, put it on there. It may not look appetizing because of how runny it is, but believe me, it'll be delicious. So you just want to load up your sandwich a little bit and then put your other piece of bread on top like so, and there you have it, an egg salad sandwich. Something like that, right? Alright. So there we have it. Now I'm going to move over to the table and let you guys see me eat this. Alright guys, so here we are at the table with my egg salad sandwich. Let's take a bite, see how it tastes. That is damn good egg salad, even if it is a little bit runny. As you can see, it's not dripping out though, so it's not super runny. So like I said, normally when I'm using Miracle Whip, or even with mayonnaise, I still usually do, I put just a little bit of lemon juice in there. Not saying you gotta go out and buy a fresh lemon. They sell little bottles of lemon juice that actually look like a lemon. Just get a little bit of that, give it a little squirt in there, stir it up. It just helps the mayonnaise from breaking down like that. I don't know why it does it. It didn't used to, but things have gotten cheaper and changed their formulas over the years, and stuff happens. Since I didn't have any lemon juice, that's why I added that little bit of relish, because relish has a little bit of vinegar in it, and I was hoping that would do the job of emulsifying it so it didn't break down. It didn't break down quite as much as the last time I made it using Miracle Whip, because at that point it became pure liquid. This is actually still somewhat solid and edible enough to make a sandwich out of, where the other one just was like nothing but liquid and couldn't hold on to a sandwich at all. So yeah, that's why I added the relish. That's why it wasn't in the original list of ingredients. It adds a nice flavor to it, so if you like relish, throw a little bit in there. No big deal. But yeah, I definitely recommend using regular mayonnaise as opposed to Miracle Whip, at least for this. Just about any egg-based dish anymore, or any. I usually tend to use mayo. If I was making something more like macaroni salad or something like that, I'd probably use Miracle Whip because when it breaks down, it's dressing. It's no big deal. But when you're making something like a sandwich spread, you always want to use regular mayo as opposed to Miracle Whip. So that is it for this episode. Again, as always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. If you try it or you have your own egg salad recipe that you want to share with me, comments down below. Or if you just make it and you're like, hey, look, I made it, send me a photo on Instagram or wherever, and maybe it'll be featured on the show next time. So until next time, as always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Links are in the description. And until next time, get cooking.